Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we're working on my 08 335i. It is an E90 model and we're going to be doing an LCI taillight conversion. If you notice on the taillights, the inner taillights, it already has a film or sticker on top to kind of give it that LCI look. But I was lucky to score trunk lid and taillights for a really good deal, so I'm going to be doing the conversion. I'm going to show you guys what's involved with doing the conversion, including coating, etc. Now that these cars are starting to come down in value, you can find LCI models for relatively cheap being parted out, making this feasible. In my opinion, I wouldn't be spending $1,000+ to do this, but for a few $100, why not? So, first thing we're gonna have to do is get inside the trunk. And if you'll notice, I have a reverse camera on my car. That's gonna have to come off and be moved over to the new trunk. This inner cover has to come off so that we can deal with the harness going down to the inner lights and whatnot, so I'm gonna do that first. One of these trim removal tools will definitely make your life a little easier with these plastic clips. Basically get it underneath and pry forward slightly. The whole thing comes out like so. This plastic grab handle here has to be removed, so you're just gonna pop it off this little peg here. And then there's a little place to press in to remove it. So basically we're gonna unplug. They actually sell a harness that you can buy to do the conversion, to actually repin these, but we're gonna manually do that. You don't need to buy the harness if you don't, if you're willing to repin it. Hopefully you guys caught that. Another reason to be doing this, let me get my other camera and show you. So as you can see here, it's all melted and deteriorated. It's actually happening on my X5 as well, but I know for a fact that even my taillights have the same thing going on. So rather than buy new versions of these or try to tape that or glue that back together, you know, I'm definitely going to be putting the money into the LCI conversion. I actually wasn't aware that these were like that, but good to know so I can deal with it. This whole thing just fell apart, fell out of there because of the melted plastic, which just happens with time. So there's actually one harness here for the actual actuator. You don't want to be closing your trunk, especially if you've disconnected the battery after this, so maybe throw a cloth over that just in case, so you don't make that mistake. I'll do that now. That way there's no way that it can latch itself. Hopefully you guys can see that if you look in here. Another harness goes up into that. Looks to be the lock or the actuator for the handle in the trunk. I have this power filter that actually gets rid of noise on my reverse camera that's a little too bulky. I have to cut it and then splice it back together after. You guys shouldn't have this. Now we can start fishing the wire through. So keep in mind that this connector is bulky and it can get caught up. Mine got actually jammed up in there and I had to pull really hard to get it through. You may want to actually de-pin this before you pull it through. Disconnect your battery and then just de-pin it and pull it through that way. You shouldn't be live when the car's off, but still, to be safe, you may want to consider that. That's the only thing that can give you a snag when you're trying to pull these through. Next up, I want to remove my emblem. Next up is going to be the trunk removal. There's two 11 mils. Two 11 mils on each side. So we're going to remove the bottom one altogether. And just lift straight off. Now we're inside the trunk area. We're going to remove this. Disconnect this. There's some 8mm screws. You can see in there in the past this is melted and it went really dim, and I had to actually put some foil tape in there to restore it. So they've done their job, but you know, eventually the heat from the bulbs melt the plastic, and seems like after about 10 years they're due for replacement anyway. On this side, to get access to the taillight, you gotta remove this battery cover here. Same story on this one. I had to put some foil tape in there in the past. Alright, so we're ready to put in one of the new taillights. On this taillight, the pinout doesn't have to change at all. So this can go straight in. So as you can see, those are straight bolt in, and the harness plugs straight into them. Nothing special there. Same story on this side, straight plug in. Alright, I'm going to bring the new trunk lid over now. To start with, I'm going to line up the bolt holes the way they were before, just to see. I'm just using the pattern of the paint on the bracket to get things aligned. That's already looking really sharp. I'm going to put the reverse camera on and whatnot, and then we'll worry about running the harness up in and also repinning it. Alright, if you notice up there, I've mounted the reverse camera. Now we got to deal with pulling the wiring up. Now, because I bought this trunk lid off a wrecked car, it actually came with the harness, so I don't really have to worry about, see, they just cut it there. I don't have to worry about the pinout, searching the internet. I actually double checked this to be sure, but the pinout is slightly different on the inner taillight connector. Basically what I've noticed is these last two wires need to be swapped on both sides. So I'm going to do that, but I can use this as reference, and I even checked online. We're going to have to depin the actual harness that came with the car so we can pull it up. I'm going to actually do it in advance. If you take a look over here, I don't want to pass that connector through here because it tends to get jammed up, so I'm going to depin the actual connector and pull it up with the pins exposed so that there's more clearance, and then I'll reference the old harness that came with the actual trunk lid for the proper pinout. And I've already double checked online to make sure that that's proper. So there's a couple small changes. You got to move a couple wires around. So what I'm going to do is disconnect the actual battery so that in case any of those wires have any life in them, they're not going to short out on anything while I'm pulling it up. I'm going to attempt to use some wire that I have to pull the actual harness up. I'm going to pass it down here. Here's the pinout on this side. It's blue, black, brown, green, red, yellow, brown. Alright, so I cleaned up some of my wiring and actually shouldn't have run it on the inside, it should be on the outside here. It clips in a few spots, so just keep that in mind when you're routing yours. Just route it around the back side or the outside. Just in case you guys are following along step by step, I actually made a small mistake and I fixed it. I was just in a bit of a rush when I was doing this, but the wiring order here from the tab side is going to be starting yellow, black, green, yellow, brown, and purple, black on this side. I had it reversed basically. So I cleaned up all the wiring. I put new fabric tape on here. Cable managed everything as it should be. And I'm going to be putting the cover back on now. So the LCI has a little bit of a different trunk cover. I believe you can use your old one if you just bought the shell, but if you want to fit exactly as it is here, then if you're getting it off a wrecked car, try to get the cover as well. FYI, here's the pre-LCI cover. This part looks different, but it looks like you could use your old one if you wanted to. Now, really important, one trade-off with an LCI trunk lid is the actual electronics here. There's no keyhole on this one, so make sure your handle works before you close it, especially if you don't have the pass-through seats like my car. So I'm good there. One of the reasons I got this trunk lid for a really good deal is it has some blemishes on it. You can see that ding there. Up at the front here, the whole lip was all banged in. There was a huge, it was like basically a centimeter bent down. I hammered it straight. It would have needed to be repainted, but I put a door edging on here, which looks nice and clean, and you would never really be able to tell. 99% straight now, and the paint on it wasn't bad actually. I gave it a quick buff, but it has good reflection and shine, but it's got some deep scratches here. You can just make them out there. So basically on this upper lip here and along this face and that ding there, that edge I hid with that door edging. But basically 99% of the blemishes can be covered up with this spoiler that I got. Bought it on Amazon. It's called Icon, I believe. It was like 80 something bucks, 90 bucks, painted and delivered. So once I throw that on there, you know, it won't really need to be repainted. It looks pretty good. Considering the value and age of this car, it's a big upgrade and I didn't have to spend a lot of money. So I'm gonna get set up with the tripod here and install that spoiler. FYI, I've already cleaned the surface with rubbing alcohol. Alright, so we got that wing mounted now. There's a nice side profile of it. Looks pretty good. There we go. Big difference. Car's looking pretty modern now. I'm a fan. Lucky for me, this is a jet black trunk lid, came off a 335i, so I didn't have to touch the actual lettering. So looking really good. Next up, we're gonna set the laptop up and coat out the errors that are popping up. I'll show you what they look like. So we'll just go key on.
So we have left rear turn signal malfunction, right rear turn signal malfunction. This left front parking lamp malfunction I get because of my RGB angel eyes, and I gotta set the time and date, but I gotta clear these two messages, and the only way we're gonna be able to do that is by coding. If you run the turn signal, they're flashing quickly. As you can see, the turn signal is running quick, and that's because we need to code out the check message for this side and that side. So we're going to set up the laptop now. Alright, so I'm connected to the car. I got the key in the on position, headlights off, fan off to not kill the battery. We're going to load up input. If you don't already have this software suite set up on your laptop, I'm going to link to a thread in the description on how you can set that up if needed. But we're going to look for a couple black dots to ensure we're connected to the car. We're good there. So now we can go into NCS Expert, click Run, File, Load Profile. We're going to choose this Rev Tours. You could also do Expert Man if needed. F1, F3, choose the chassis. E89 is the closest one. Now we have to choose an ECU to pull the vehicle order off of. Either one of these will be fine. That's the car access system. You'll see your VIN populate and your vehicle order. Now we're going to hit back. Now we're going to process a particular ECU. We're going to scroll down to NFRM. Hit OK. Hit OK. Now we want to read the ECU. Now we've pulled up our trace file, so we can modify. So we're going to go into My Computer, Drive C, NCS Expert, and we're going to go into Work. Now we're going to have two new files here that were just made. This FSW_PSW trace file and this netodat.trace file are both here. And I'm going to open this up just in case you guys want to do it the basic way. This is the basic way. Automatically you should have it so that your computer is set up to load these in Notepad, but worst case if not, then you can just load it up in Notepad manually. This is FSW_PSW.trc for trace, and there's a few values that need to be modified. To start with, KAL TU EBER WACH UNG. So we're going to look for, okay, to start with, this one right here. That's set to active. We're going to set that to not active. So you'd basically modify that and write the word NICHT_ in front of it right there. And the next one we need to change is, that's BFD. The next one is BL right here. Same story with that and same story with that. BL and BLK to _H. All three of those need to be changed to niche active and saved. And then those are the cold checks for the brake lights. WARM UEBERWACHUNG. These are the warm checks. So BFD, BL, and BLK, all three of those have to be changed to niche active. So if you did that, if you wrote the word NICHT_ in front of the active sign, and then you said file, save as, You can save it as a .man file, which is your manipulated file, and that would be it right there. And then you can go back into NCS Expert and click basic functions, and then you can say coapi code by coapi code, and then there'll be one of those that says, here, let me find it. So then it would be here, coapi sg get fsw psw. If you click that, it would automatically load the manipulated trace file, and then you would hit change job. Here it says codir Dayton _ lesson for read. You would change job to sg codirin, and then you'd hit execute job, and it would just push that fsw file that's been modified. I can't do that here because I've already custom coded my car with like higher voltage to my angel eyes and quick folding mirrors, a bunch of different things that make it so that I can't just do it there like that. So I'm going to do it another way. So what we're going to do is minimize this. We're going to load NCS dummy. NCS dummy. You can download this, just search for it on Google. So I'm going to choose my chassis, choose my module. If you want to know which module you're dealing with, just go here and you can see it's FRM2 E89.C09. So we're going to scroll down to FRM2 C09. Sometimes the software crashes unless you let it actually run through before you do anything. So give it its time. Now we're going to browse for our trace file, netodat.trace file. This is a custom coded file, and eventually it will populate this. Now we can look for those same values now without jeopardizing the custom coding. So I'm going to search for Control F, KA LTUE BERWACHUNG. Click next. So we want to go to this BLK_H right here. Cold monitoring of rear turn signals. This has to be turned off. When we change it to not active, then it's not going to pass a voltage through the turn signals to test that the halogen bulb it thinks it's there is still there, which could cause a flicker on the LEDs. It's going to stop doing that, and therefore you're not going to get the flicker. So we're going to change this from not active to, we're going to change it to niche active. Okay, we're done with that. Now this BL is cold monitoring of brake lights. We want not active. And then we have this is easy to work with. As you can see, we want BFD, which is cold monitoring brake force display, not active. Now we want to do warm checks. So I'm just going to type warm in front of this, WARM. So we want BLKH, hot monitoring of rear turn signals. We don't want that. Find next. We want to find BL, hot monitoring of brake lights, not active. And lastly, the BFD, brake force distribution, hot monitoring of brake force display, not active. So those are the three things that we want to change. Warm and cold, total of 6. Now we can export this as a manipulated trace file, and then we'll come back here and check. It should be here. Look at the time, 11:50. It was just made. There's my manipulated trace file, which I can push into the ECU now, and I'll show you how. Alright, now that we have that manipulated file, we're going to go to basic functions. Coapi code SG by NETTODATT. I'm telling it to code by that manipulated file I made. You got to type it in here, NETTODATT.man. You want to make sure your battery's in good shape, and if not, you have any doubts, put it on a battery charger so that you don't brick your actual module here. So we're gonna hit OK. Now it's actually writing to the car, uploading that manipulated file, and all the custom coding I did before is still part of that file. So it says basic function perfect ended, and we're good there. We're gonna turn the key off once and then on. All right, so we'll go key on and see what type of error messages we have now. So I have left park lamp malfunction. I always had that actually, just because of my angel eyes. But as you can see, I have normal turn signals. Now we'll go to our check control messages. Now I only have that one check control message for my park lamp malfunction. I have nothing related to taillights, and I don't have quick taillights at all. Really quickly here, for the heck of it, I just coded out that parking lamp malfunction that I've always had. If you're wondering, it's the same story. I just basically coded out the warm and cold check on that actual angel eye, just because I found that quite annoying. Every time I start my car, I'd get that. So now I have all systems okay. That's what you're going to be looking for after doing your coding. And like I showed you, no quick blink. We're all good. So we'll put the headlights on. Let's keep that signal on and see how that looks outside. That's all normal. And I'll put the reverse lights on. Got my reverse camera working. So as you can see, our coding has worked. So that's basically it. That shows you how to change your taillights on your E90 pre-LCI, including the trunk lid and all the wiring that you're going to need to modify, as well as the coding you'll need to do to not have any errors after. So hopefully you guys found this video useful. Now that these trunk lids are coming down in value, you can probably do it for a few $100 if it's the same color as your car, or if it's not, then if you factor in paint, maybe $500, $600, $700. Still, it really transforms the look of the car. Let's go take a look at it one last time. It really looks sharp in my opinion. Really loving the way it looks. Big improvement. So that shows you how to change out your taillights on your E90 to look a little more modern. So thanks for watching and good luck.
Yeah.